you're winning big. But Biden has weaponized our justice system against his leading opponent, and that's you. And he's trying to dampen our enthusiasm of our movement, and he's committing election interference and
election fraud. He's a fraud. No, it's never happened before in the history. It's happened in third world countries. It happens like in banana republics. Never happened in this country, at least nothing like this. And they go around, and you see what's going on. Look at it as an example, because it's all coordinated. Look at Georgia, what happened there. And now that's turned into a massive scandal where the prosecutor was getting all sorts of money. I think that deranged Jack Smith is a totally compromised prosecutor. I mean, he's got some bad stuff, really bad stuff, and dangerous stuff for the country. But these are bad people. They're really bad people, and they've never done this before. When a candidate is willing to weaponize against his political opponent, you no longer really have a democracy. And I think I'm doing very well with it. It's very interesting. I don't think it's ever happened before to another candidate where something like this would happen on obviously a much smaller scale. But they announced on one of the networks today that I'm leading by more than any candidate has ever led in history. Now, we still have to, go out and vote, because we have to do it with facts. Polls don't mean anything, but in the polls, we have the best numbers ever. I don't believe I'd have numbers as high. I think I'd be leading by a lot, because we did a great job. They're going on what we did all together. But I don't think I'd be leading by anywhere near as much. When you see a national poll came out today, 71. I'm at 71. Ron DeSanctimonious is at like 9. And I think Nikki's at 9 or 10. And she may be replacing him. He spent... he's gone through about $250 million, and he's only gone down, so there's something wrong. But if they didn't weaponize, I probably wouldn't be doing as well. So that tells you the people understand it. I got all these judges, they hate me, like in New York, they hate me. It's so, it's radical left, crazy judges, they're crazy. And you take a look at what's happening. You have trials, and they give you a verdict before the trial starts. They gave me a verdict in New York before the trial starts. I had another one. I have to go, and I said, could we have a day off? My wife's incredible mother. This was an incredible woman. My wife loves her so much. The first lady, her mother died. And one of the most incredible people. And the judge says, essentially, you can't go to the funeral because we're not going to give you the time. So if I go to the funeral, I can't be at the trial. They're not going to hold up the trial. Now think of it. There's a radical left judge, Kaplan. There's a radical left judge appointed by Clinton. And that's the way it is. The Democrats play that way. The Republicans don't. Republican judges, in all fairness, they go overboard. If I appoint somebody, they go overboard to give the other side the benefit of the doubt. Okay, absolutely overboard. Whereas the Democrats, if they get appointed by Obama or Biden, they're down and dirty. They say, I don't care. It's a whole different thing. And people can say that's not true, but it's totally true. Republicans, they want to go out of their way to show that they're not influenced or they're not biased or that they're fair, and they're really hurting our country. The Democrats you just see it in New York. You see these judges. He gives me a verdict that I'm guilty, and my lawyers go up. We don't even know how has it happened. The trial didn't start. He knows nothing about me. They don't have the facts. They have the figure. Then they say about Mar-a-Lago, the judge ruled it was worth $18 million, but it's actually worth over $1 billion. He said $18 million. And everyone says, how do you get that? Now, it's an incredible property. It's just a question of what's it worth. People come in. It's worth a lot of money. He said it was worth $18 million. That's a lot of money, too. But in Palm Beach, it's not. In Palm Beach, it's less than a starter house. It's crazy, right? Palm Beach, Florida. But they make corrupt rulings in order to try and prove their case. And they do it, and they do it against us. And the legal system is a mess in our country. It's a mess. It's a disgrace what's going on with judges. And again, Democrat judges, especially the radical left Democrats, say what you want. I was scolded once by a certain Supreme Court justice who I like and respect. He said, no, you have Trump judges, you have Obama judges, you have judges. They're all judges. They're all essentially the same. I said, I disagree with that. It's just the way it is. I disagree. Republican judges, they go out of their way. And, we have some very big decisions coming up, like immunity as an example. Mm-hmm. A president of the United States has to have immunity, because if you don't have immunity, every president that leaves office will be indicted by the sitting president of an opposing party. When I say every, most of them, okay, most of them. They'll say, oh, like in the case of Obama, he sends missiles in and he kills a lot of civilians. Or the case of Biden, the wall, not building it, for him not to have finished those open areas, for him to allow people to come into our country, for him to allow crime like we've allowed, for him to do the things that he's done. He's been such a horrible president. So that would mean you have to have immunity. Otherwise, a president is not going to be able to function. They're going to say, well, wait a minute, I don't want to get indicted as soon as I leave. And you'll make some decisions that aren't going to be great decisions. But if you don't have immunity, you're not going to be able to function as a president.
Yeah, well, I think Iowans and Americans, they see right through that. You know, they have seen that you have had a target on your back since day one. You really have. You really have. And I think the polls, you talked about some of them, that the polls really show that too. So Rasmussen shows you beating Biden nationally by 8 points. Yeah. That's huge. There was a poll that just came out from the Detroit News, and it has you beating Biden in Michigan by 8 points. That is awesome. And then Future Majority has you beating Biden in Pennsylvania by 6 points. Yeah. And that's just a few. I mean, how can you drain the swamp and how can you root out those deep state activists who are working with the media to destroy our democracy?
So, and I love that question. It's such an important, drain the swamp. You know, I said that I never loved the term, but it really caught on somehow.
We have
to drain, and we did. When I fired Comey, that was a wonderful day, and we fired a lot of different people. I didn't say I made it easier myself, but we had. But you talk about the polls. So Nikki Haley early on had a good poll. It was a fake poll, but she had a good poll where she was up on Biden. But she hasn't had that since. She's getting killed by Biden. She's losing everywhere to Biden. And they used the one poll that was very early that was absolutely ridiculous. And I'm beating him in every poll. Every single poll now, I'm beating him by a lot. And she's going to lose. She's not going to be able to beat Biden. And it's not Biden. People say, how could the guy, he can't walk off a stage. He can't find the stairs. If a stair is right there when you're finished with your speech, he's looking all over. He's trying to find the stair. And they have to send people up to take him. But the whole thing is crazy. I don't really think he's going to run, but let's see what happens. I think they're going to stop him. I don't believe they're going to let him. But if he does, that's fine. And if whoever it may be, we just have to win because their ideology is so bad. Right. But how do you do that where a friend of mine said, you know, you're up 11 on Biden. How come? And he's not a political person, but a very smart person, big businessman. Called me up. He said, how can you only be winning by 11? Well, 11's a lot in the world of politics, but you have to understand they have the unions, but I think we've broken into the unions now. I think we're going to have the unions other than the top people. We may even have some of the top people, as you probably just saw. But they have the unions, and they have civil service, but we treat civil service too. They have tremendous welfare votes, and they have the welfare vote, and they have a base of about 38, 39%. It was interesting because let's say they have 39%. We have to do it the old-fashioned way. We have to run the East Coast. We have to run all sorts of places like Iowa. We have to run everything, and we have to win like we did in 2016. And we did much better in 2020, getting millions. I mean, we got millions more votes than we did in 2016. We did actually much better. You know, people say, oh, well, I don't know, how's that? But most people understand what happened, okay? Most people understand what happened. We did so much better in 2020. Look, 2016 was unique, and it was a big surprise to a lot of people, except for the people that went to rallies and all, you know. It's interesting. We'd have a rally, 2020 also. We'd have a rally, and we'd have 35,000, 40,000 people show up on one-day notice, right? Yeah. And he announced for 2 weeks that he's coming, and they couldn't fill the 8 circles. You know those beautiful circles? They were nice. They were actually very nice. They did a good job. I'd like to find the person. I'm into the world of construction and things. They did a beautiful job. They had to use the fake news media to fill them up. So they have people from CNN standing in a circle. And then they'd say, oh, Trump didn't win Arizona. I mean, I left Arizona. We had 48,000 people. He left Arizona. He literally couldn't fill up the circles. And then we hear we lost by a whisker. We lost just by this much. We've got to clean up our elections. Yeah. We've got to clean them up because we have to clean up our borders. Our borders and our elections have to do it.
Yeah. Well, Mr. President, caucus night is coming right up.
Yep.
It is Monday night, and we need everybody to find out where their caucus is, come to their caucus, come early at 6:30. Bring your ID. The caucus starts at 7, and you cannot be late. There's no late voting in a caucus. You have to be there on time. What is your message to your strong Trump supporters who see the dirty tricks from Biden that are designed to suppress the Trump vote? And what is your message to your supporters who see you ahead in polling and they wonder if their vote matters?
Well, that's a big thing. So we're leading by a lot in all the polls, and you have to get out because we have to send a message, most importantly for November, because we have to beat this guy. And, you know, if you say, gee, we're leading by a lot, but let's not get in, especially with weather like this, you just have to get out. And a friend of mine said, they're hardy people in Iowa, and they are hard. I know plenty of them, and you're one of them. Right? So you're one of the great attorney generals in the country, and I have to say, before we get off, it was such an honor to get your very early endorsement, and really something that was very special, and it meant a lot to me, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I was glad to do it because we need you back as president. Iowa wants you back. The whole country wants you back in the White House. We need you. Thank you.
They do a job. We will not let you down. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.